Anin, Bojo, Joel Agawissa Indigenous. Welcome to another episode of White Buffalo Circles at Home Edition. What's very important for me right now is trying to continue the education and the learning that I would do in our schools during this time. So there's a few schools that I didn't get a chance to get to. And what's really unfortunate is that one of those schools is my daughter's school. My daughter's in kindergarten, and it's a very unique and special experience to go into your child's class and be able to teach them and their classmates. So she'd really been looking forward to it, and then all this stuff happens. So I'm going to involve my daughter in some of these clips. I hope you guys enjoy that. I hope we'll see how that goes. But just a heads up, the content and the delivery that I'm going to do during these next few episodes is geared to kindergarten students. As time goes on, I might gear some more presentations to older students, because a grade 8 presentation looks very different than a kindergarten presentation. So just keep that in mind as we're going through these next few videos that I'll be posting, is that this is geared for 4- and 5-year-old students, just introducing them to the Ojibwe culture. So hope you guys enjoy. Take care. Ani. So I'm doing the video here with my daughter today, just so I have some sort of audience. I'm used to having a large group of children when I do this. So we're going to give this a shot. So for those of you watching who don't know me, my name is Joel. The reason I'm coming to your class today, in this virtual classroom, is to teach you a little bit about my culture. Riley, do you know what culture means?
It's a statue.
Culture is very confusing oftentimes for kindergarten kids. So this is what I use to kind of introduce culture. Where is it in here? It's in here somewhere. Oh, there it is. What is that?
On the earth.
Very good. This is the earth. This is, in my culture, we call this Mother Earth. You say Mother Earth?
Mother.
Mother Earth, very good. Now, do you know what country we live in? What country do we live in?
Ojibwe.
We are Ojibwe, yes. But we live in Canada, right? Remember we sing that, O Canada?
Yeah.
Now, Canada is a huge country. It's actually the second biggest country on Earth. It's humongous. It's that big green one right there. But Canada is only one country. If you traveled around the world and visited all the different places on the earth, you would see that they do things very differently in different places. So let's pretend we go to the airport and we get onto a plane and we fly that plane from Canada all the way over to China. Now, China is another country. So when we get off the plane in China, right away you're going to notice they don't speak English and they don't speak French. They speak Mandarin, a whole different language. They eat different foods than me and you. They sing different songs. They pray to God in different ways. They wear different clothes. And that's what culture is. Culture is just the way you do things wherever you live. So you know about being Ojibwe in Canada, because that's our culture, right? Here we like hockey. Some of us like basketball. We sing O Canada every morning. The majority of people pray in a certain way here in this country. English and French are the main languages spoken here today. But I came to tell you a little bit about my culture, and I am Ojibwe. And if we went back in time 500 years to Sudbury, to this part of Canada where you live, the only people that lived here back then were the Ojibwe. And since we woke up here in Ojibwe territory, I think it's important that we learn a little bit about the Ojibwe culture. So, whenever I teach anybody about the Ojibwe culture, I always start with this. This is obviously a backpack, right? But inside of my backpack, I have my bundle. Can you say bundle?
Bundle.
Good job. This is my bundle. Now inside of this bundle, I got all kinds of different things, and we're going to check it out. Some of the items in this bundle I consider to be sacred. Can you say sacred?
Sacred.
Sacred. Now, a lot of times when I say sacred to little kids, they think of the word secret. But I'm not saying secret, right? Secret is when you don't tell somebody something, you keep it secret. Sacred means very special. And more than just special, when something is sacred, it usually has a connection to God and a connection to the spirit world. So we're going to check out my bundle. We're going to have a look at these different items, and we're going to talk about it. Now this is leather, and this particular leather comes from a deer. This is deer skin. Now most of our leather that we have in North America today, like the leather on my shoes here, this comes from cows. But I don't know if you know this about cows. Cows are not from Canada. Did you know that? A long, long time ago, people put cows on big boats and they brought cows across the ocean to Canada, to Turtle Island. And now we got lots of cows. But cows are not from here. Horses, chickens, and pigs, they're not from this land. But deer have always lived here in Turtle Island. So
I know where those animals go. A farm.
Nowadays they're on farms, you're right. But deers don't live in farms, do they? Deers live in the forest, they're wild. So this is deer skin. It comes from a deer. Now, I have a few things in here. We're going to talk about these things. I have a couple of little medicine bags. These are also made from deer skin, and I made both of those ones. In here, I got some fire sticks,
Yeah.
also known as wooden matches. Riley, do you ever play with fire? No, we never play with fire. Fire is very dangerous, okay? So I don't want you to ever play with fire.
Well, I can cook hot dogs into a fire.
When you can cook hot dogs with the stick, that's right on the fire, but you're always very careful, right? And Dada makes the fire. Now, I always carry at least one of these with me. What is that?
A feather.
Good. Do you know what kind of bird this feather comes from? What do you think?
I think it comes from an eagle.
Good job. That is an eagle feather. You're absolutely right. Now, some kids have never seen eagles before, so on my first visit, I always like to bring in this little friend of mine. This is my puppet eagle, Stuffy. This is a bald eagle. Can you say bald eagle?
Bald eagle.
Yeah. So he's got a white head and a white tail. These birds are incredible creatures. And for the Ojibwe, they're actually considered sacred creatures because they have a very special connection to the spirit world. Now this is a cute little Stuffy, right? You can't really tell how big these guys are, but these eagles can get to be huge. So Dada, when I spread out my wings, I have a 75-inch wingspan. From my fingertip to my fingertip is 75 inches. I'm a pretty big guy, right? Now eagles, they can get even bigger than me. Eagles can get up to 90-inch wingspans. They are humongous, beautiful birds. This is a feather, one of my feathers.
Are
in my
they
collection.
nice?
Yeah, they can be nice, but you don't mess with them. They're not pets. They're not something that you would want to go up and pet because they are big predatory creatures. So this is an eagle feather. Yeah, that's another eagle feather. I had to have this box actually made for this feather because it wouldn't fit inside of my regular eagle feather home. So this is the tip of an eagle's wing. That is called the primary feather. And if I hold it out like this, that's a good example of how big these birds get. They are humongous, beautiful birds. They got great big talons. They can pick up animals. I've seen an eagle pick up a small goat, carry that goat up the mountain and eat that goat. They are
they usually eat worms.
No, actually, eagles don't usually eat worms and bugs. Little birds like robins, they'll eat worms and bugs. Eagles are huge. Eagles eat big snakes, great big salmon, all kinds of different animals. They're predatory birds. And I'll show some pictures on my video as we post this. Now, eagles can fly higher than any other creature on Earth. They can fly over 10,000 feet above the Earth. That's crazy high. Now, where do you think heaven is? Point to heaven. Where is it?
In the clouds.
It's way up in the sky world. You're right. Most cultures around the world, they think that heaven or the spirit world is somewhere up there in that sky world above us. And the Ojibwe, we thought the same thing. So the eagle is extra special in our culture. He's actually considered to be a messenger from the spirit world. When that eagle is flying up there 10,000 feet above the earth, close to God and close to the heavens. In our culture, we believe that the Creator and the spirit world will whisper messages to the eagle. And then the eagle brings those messages all the way back down to Mother Earth. And the eagle shares those messages with us, with the people, with the Anishinaabe.
Mhm.
So we never hunted eagles. We did not kill them. They are considered sacred creatures in our culture, and they might be bringing those messages from the spirit world. So eagles are always extra special in our culture. What is this? What is that?
A turtle shell.
Oh, it's not a turtle shell. That's a good guess. It is a shell. This is actually called an abalone shell. Can you say abalone?
Abalone.
Good job. Now that kind of sounds like baloney, right? Which is very convenient for me because it could have been named some crazy name that you would never remember. But it's named after a circular piece of lunch meat, baloney, right? So next time I'm going to ask you, Riley, what my shell's called. And if you can remember baloney shell, that's pretty close. I'll give you half a point. But it's an abalone shell. Say that again. Abalone.
Abalone.
Good job. Okay. Now in this bag right here, I have some special rocks. You want to see my special rocks?
I wish I can touch them.
You'll be able to touch them, but right now we're just going to talk about them. So one of the reasons I like to carry these special rocks in my bundle is to talk about some differences, because there's a lot of differences the way that we live now in Canada and the way that my Ojibwe ancestors lived here for thousands and thousands of years. And one of those big differences is this stuff right here. This, that's plastic. And this, that's metal. Now, the Ojibwe people, with a few exceptions like copper, we never made things out of metal, and we never made things out of plastic. Have you ever seen the great big smokestacks around the city? Those huge smokestacks that are around Sudbury? Well, Sudbury is a mining town, and what they do here is they take the metal out of Mother Earth and they change it into things like this, things that we can use. And when they do that, it creates that really gross, dirty smoke, pollution. Now, in my culture, there's one thing that we were always thinking about. There's one thing that we consider to be the most important thing in our lives. What do you think the most important thing is in the whole world? What's the most important thing?
Brush your teeth?
That's a good guess. There's lots of guesses I usually get in my circles. But I'm going to tell you what the most important thing is. It's you. You are the most important thing on the world, Sunshine. Our children. If our children grow up and they don't have fresh air to breathe and clean water to drink and lots of food to eat, then what is the point of any of this? So whenever the Ojibwe people did anything, when we gathered as leaders to make decisions about the future for our community, the first thing we always thought about was our children and how this decision that we make today is going to affect our children in the future. And we didn't just think about you, Sunshine. We thought about your kids. We thought about your great, 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 great grandchildren. We were always thinking about 7 generations of children that are going to be coming ahead of us, coming behind us. So that's a huge difference in the way that we kind of think today as our leaders making decisions and the way my people made decisions back then. We're going to do some stories, Sunshine, but not in this one. Today we're just talking about my bundle. Okay? So, no plastic, no metal. And if we don't have plastic and metal, that means we got to get creative. We got to make things out of rocks.
I got metal.
You got a metal water container too. Very good. We got to make things out of wood. You can make all sorts of really cool stuff out of wood. And even sometimes...
Even tree forts?
And tree forts, for sure. We had good tree forts. Sometimes we would make things out of this. What is that?
A reindeer.
Yeah.
Ear.
This is called an antler. Can you say antler? It's kind of like the horn that grows out of the top of a deer's head. And the boy deers use this for fighting. They'll fight each other with these horns. And sometimes the horn will break off the head and it will fall to the ground in the forest. So I don't even have to kill a deer in order to get one of these antlers. I can just find it in the bush. Now, I'll show you this. your grandfather, my dad, he had this made for Junior a long time ago.
Well, now it's yours.
Well, now I use it in my presentations just to show kids. Look at it close. What do you think that is? What's it look like? What's it made from?
Plastic.
Yeah, see, most kids say it's made from plastic, but this is actually not plastic. This beautiful little feather necklace was carved out of this, out of bone. You can carve bone and make all sorts of really cool things, like this beautiful little necklace. Now use your imagination. If I could make a necklace out of bone, I could make a spoon, right? I could make a spoon really easy. I could make a knife. I could make all sorts of things. I could make little dolls. I could carve you a little doll out of this so you could have little dolls to play with back then. And it's not made from plastic. It's natural. You can find this in the forest. And most importantly, it doesn't hurt Mother Earth when you make things out of bone rather than plastic and metal. This is pretty cool too. This is a little medicine grinder, because when we used to take our medicines, what we do is we put the medicine inside of there and we would grind it up. This is made from bone, yeah. So this is the bottom part of a deer antler. This was obviously a bigger deer antler, right? And then we chopped it off, sanded it off real nice, made a little hole. Then we took this part of the deer antler and broke it off, made it nice and smooth. And now you got yourself a little medicine grinder to grind up your different medicines with.
Oh, I wish.
That's pretty
I
neat.
didn't have it. I was gonna all by myself.
Oh, one day you'll get it, probably, sunshine. Anyway, that's just a couple of good examples of the stuff that we used to make out of bone. This is kind of cool. I'll throw this in just as a side one. My cousin Terry gave this to me last Christmas, and this is the talon from a turkey, a wild turkey. And it's carved into this, kind of placed into this nice piece of wood with some leather on the end. And this is my back scratcher. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a good back scratcher. So there's all sorts of really cool things that we made back then. We were very creative. And we didn't have metal and plastic, because when you make that metal and plastic, it pollutes Mother Earth and it hurts the future for our children. So we found different ways to do things, things from Mother Nature. Okay, so I think for right there, we're going to just pause for a second. We're going to call that part 1 of Introduction to My Bundle, and then we'll move on to part 2 after this. Yes, questions, Sunshine? Okay, so that was about a third of my first lesson in the kindergarten classes, usually about 45-50 minutes long. And at the end of my lessons, what I like to do is have the kids ask me some questions as I'm tidying up my bundle and putting things away. So I was thinking this week, if you'd like to ask me some questions and kind of interact, you could write your question in the comments section after you viewed the video. And maybe next week I'll do a little Ask Mr. Joel type of session. So hope you guys enjoyed it, and keep looking forward for some more videos. I'll post another one next Friday. Everybody stay safe, and miigwech, take care.